Hey everybody, what's going on? We're here with the Timeless reading. Welcome. The first two cards out are Hermit and Ten of Cups. Okay. What this is looking like is you're being called to do something here, but only after you figure something out. What's being looked into, what's being figured out, it has to do with a relationship of yours. So this is something that's going on with you and another person, and there's like a decision or decisions that are being made or something that needs to be done. But again, before you do so, I'm seeing you have to figure out like what's the right thing for you on an internal level. So it's bringing the focus within for you, you having to feel something out. Hermit is generally like seeking advice or seeking wisdom or seeking an answer or seeking clarity. The Hermit is going to be seeking of some sort, like looking for something. Having 10 of Cups here, this is like about what is going to fully align internally for you. Having the Lovers here shows there being a focus on a relationship as well, like that somehow being part of this. Whether this is like a relationship choice that's being made or something that will impact a relationship, and then what you're going to do after you find that answer, after you figure that out. Because I'm seeing King of Wands come out here, and I'm actually seeing this be your energy. So you can feel like there are things that you have to determine, but it's kind of up to you what you're going to do here. And make sure that this really sits well with you and that this is the right thing, so you feel like you can sleep at night after making this decision, like that type of thing. Like making sure that it's internally congruent for you. Okay. So we have Nine of Swords, we have the Devil, Two of Swords, High Priestess. Something needs to be seen, but it can be difficult to see because something else has got your attention here. So having Nine of Swords, this is something that you can feel is really difficult to get off of your mind. Can be something that you are having a hard time separating from or focusing on other things. This is like taking up a lot of space. Or as soon as you aren't thinking about anything in particular, this pops up, but it can be coming through in a way that it doesn't feel good. It can feel overwhelming. Having the Devil here, and also having Two of Swords next to it, it's about needing to see, needing to discern something, but it can be hard to discern. Like the Devil can be something where if you're not fully ready to see, it can be something that you're telling yourself that it's like the key to happiness. And when you're not really in that cycle anymore, you can look back at it and be like, that was a lie, or like that wasn't really true, but I was so caught up in things that I was convincing myself that it was. Having 10 of Cups be connected with the Devil is sort of like this skewed perspective of what is really going to be the answer as far as what you're seeking internally. And again, I'm seeing a relationship have to do with this, so it seems like this is an interpersonal thing that's coming up. But you're being urged to act with a sense of wisdom and discernment. And having the High Priestess here, this is you connecting with your higher self, which sometimes, especially when the Devil's involved, it can be that thing that, like, it feels good to be around that. We don't want to give it up, but you can also know at the same time that it's not going to yield the type of results that you're looking for. And so needing to see something about this. And I will say this too, this doesn't mean there's a certain thing that you're looking for, it's not going to be found in this relationship, and so that means like forget the relationship, leave the relationship. It doesn't mean that. It can mean just like stop looking for that somewhere that you're not going to find it. Like you can be like putting all of your happiness on like somebody that you're with, on a relationship of some sort, and thinking that that's going to be the be all end all. But again, like it's skewed because you're putting your happiness in something that's outside of yourself, and so it's corruptible, you know, it's able to disintegrate essentially, and then what are you left with? But that's not going to be like the real peace that you find. It's about finding it with yourself and then connecting with another person from there, so you feel like you're in the relationship from a space of wanting to be rather than needing to be. Having 10 of Cups and having the Devil can be like, I need this to be happy. Like, I have to have this thing to be happy, or for this to be going on, or to be with this particular person. And it feels like needing to do honest self-reflection as it's related to your relationship, because you may not be seeing something. And you can feel split too, where it's like you are sort of understanding what your higher self is telling you, and then you're also understanding too what the part of you that's trying to find something is telling you. But I'm seeing this be like a misdirection, actually. So that's why the High Priestess is here, because the High Priestess is going to cut through the illusion of that. Because the Devil can be things that, like, maybe there are other people around you that are sort of on this train, and you'll also see too that there isn't that type of internal peace or internal happiness, even though everybody's saying the same thing, like this is where it's going to be. But then everybody's connected with that, and it's still coming up short, still coming up empty. And the thing with the Devil too is that it's like in these certain conditions, it'll sort of give you what you want, but then you can feel like it's not the real thing, or you get it for a moment and then it's ripped away from you, and it's like this constant seeking and seeking and seeking, and the conditions have to be right. And it ends up being this whole thing, and it really just comes from a place of attachment. But attachment is something being other than what it is. Because attachment in itself, there's not an issue with it. It's when we have an attachment to something that's not actually aligned with what's going on, and that's where the issue happens, and that's where this feeling comes from too, of like, I'm trying to force this into how I need it to be for myself in this situation, to feel happy or to feel satisfied or to feel like things are all right, and trying to work and rework something outside of yourself rather than doing that internally, which is actually where you're going to find this thing. But the Devil will be like, look over there, you know, like you're looking everywhere except for within. And so it's like a wild goose chase that you end up being on. But having King of Wands and having the High Priestess here, it's urging you to look within. It's urging you to do internal seeking. And also Hermit too is saying that as well. Like Hermit and High Priestess are these very introspective spiritual energies where there's something that you're trying to figure out. Like there's understanding, there's wisdom. And so this feels like, rather than focusing on an external quest, it's putting the focus on an internal quest. But it can be something that you're not at the point where you're necessarily seeing that. Like maybe you're still convinced that like you'll only be happy if you're in a certain situation with someone. Like again, only be happy, or you're only going to be okay if XYZ is happening externally. Like very and it's going to be conditionally based off of that. But you can feel again yourself at a spot where you feel sort of beside yourself. Having Hermit and having Nine of Swords, it's like, I'm really suffering here. There's something that I'm trying to understand. There's something that I'm processing right now. I'm having a really difficult time mentally, and I'm looking for answers. I'm looking for something to help. Having 10 of Cups and having the Devil is again like assigning your happiness and like making that connection in your head to external circumstances. I think I'm gonna get like this internal whatever it is that I'm looking for externally, when it's like this is actually a spiritual problem, and so it's going to need a spiritual solution. And the devil is not a spiritual solution. The devil is it can be a material solution. And so it's kind of like looking for water in the desert. Like, you're not going to find it. It's that type of thing. Like, just looking in the wrong place. But it can, yeah, I guess this would all go along with one another. It's kind of like a mirage, you know? Like, something can partially sort of fit that part, but not really, and so it's kind of uncomfortable, and something isn't sitting completely right. But being like, well, where else am I supposed to look for it? And it's like, if you've been taught that it's going to be outside of yourself, you know, like, we're also socialized to believe that, like, the perfect relationship will fix everything. I keep coming back to relationship because I'm seeing the Lovers here. So generally this is a focus on interpersonal things. But you can also see this being related to anything. It doesn't have to be with another person. It can be anything that you're, like, pairing up with or linking up with. But again, like, on an external level, this will be something that you perceive to be outside of yourself. And that's why it's like I need this to be whole rather than feeling whole internally, and then feeling like there's so much tension and so much pressure to keep this thing around and to not let it change or anything to happen to it, and getting to the point where you can feel like not in a good space mentally. It keeps coming back to that. And you can feel too like a decision needs to be made for your own well-being and for your own happiness, but you're gonna have to take it upon yourself to be the one to do something here. And you can be like, what do I do? I don't know what this is as far as like what relationship type decision is being made here, but it feels like the perspective shift is the most important aspect of all of this, regardless of what you're going to do with this other person. It's like to talk to yourself in a way where you're realizing that if you're looking in the wrong place for something, to then not be doing that anymore, to not be telling yourself, yeah, you're gonna find it here, and then you keep feeling disappointed, or you keep feeling upset, or you feel this internal tension because something is there's this desire for something to be other than it is. But it can be really difficult to break away from that, especially because the devil and the Lovers can be like, I'm not addressing this thing internally, and instead I'm going to a relationship. And it doesn't just have to be one relationship. This can be your relationships in general. There's something going on internally that I'm not addressing, and so I'm going to socialize instead. Or I'm going to tell this other person, this is what I need from you. And it's like, you actually need to be giving that to yourself. Like, that's what you're looking for. And that's going to be the answer emotionally for you. Feeling wise, all of this feels like an attempt to connect with your higher self, or whatever you want to label, whatever name you give to your higher self. But having Hermit, starting with Hermit and ending with High Priestess, this is like, I'm trying to connect with a deeper spiritual understanding of what's going on here, because looking at things on the surface in this way, it's obviously not cutting it anymore. And I don't want to be feeling like this anymore. You know, it's getting to that point where you realize you don't have to be suffering like this, but it's going to take a change. But it can be really difficult with the devil, because devil can be like, well, this is how I always try to take care of this issue, or this is my go-to, or this is what I saw like older people do when I was younger being raised. It can be like that type of thing where like you were told this is going to be the answer, and again, like now you find yourself in those situations and it's still not the answer, so what do you do then? And you're going to seek this is like a spiritual attunement that's happening here. But the changes on the inside, it's not externally. and that's a key component of this too. Like, you're going from the outside to the inside, but that's how you're going to satisfy this thing that you're looking to connect with and what feels like it's missing. We're looking at Virgo, Capricorn, Gemini, and the moon. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.